afternoon.
When a business offered to devise a programme of formal mock interviews at a school in Berkshire, teachers seized the opportunity to equip their pupils with some of the essential communication skills they will need as they go through life.
Hi, here's my application form. Can I put it in the box, please? Thank you. Bye.
Year 11 pupils at Slough Grammar School, who are currently thinking carefully about their career options, are taking part in a programme of careers, learning and practical interview coaching, implemented by volunteers from the BT Education Unit.
But wouldn't it be a shame if your application didn't get through simply because you didn't fill in the form properly? If you absorb the idea...
The programme entails groups of 30 pupils undergoing practical tuition from a series of DVDs under the supervision of their form teacher, before completing a specially designed application form and finally attending a very formal one-to-one interview.
Has everyone got a pen?
The BT Education Unit has 2,500 volunteers nationwide, and this year alone nearly 900 pupils have benefited from interview coaching.
I was in the process of redeveloping the careers programme for Year 11, and I was approached by Melvin Pearce, who works for BT Volunteers. The whole concept of it is to help develop children's ability to communicate in a situation outside of school to prepare them better for life. And it was felt that by giving them the opportunity of having a real life interview, that they would be able to equip themselves better for university and for jobs when they apply in the future.
How do you think we should write our date of birth? Is there any set rule?
It's really important for children to experience the interview process and the world of work before they leave school. Most kids in schools today won't have had any kind of exposure to one-on-one discussions and the interview process, and it really is quite challenging. And then they're suddenly thrown out of the system and into the world of work and expected to just be able to get a job. So anything that they can get in any kind of one-to-one mentoring that they can get, I think the BT programme is particularly good for, as to what that will be like. The more experience, the more exposure that you can have to that kind of thing is really, really useful.
All right then, so you're ready for your interviews. You've handed in your application forms and everything, and you know that your time. So you're first, Jazz. The children who are being interviewed are Year 11 pupils, and they're very bright, very motivated and enthusiastic children. All of them have ambition to go on to university after they finish their A-levels. How you're going to sit, think about your eye contact, all right? We've got a range of different types of careers that they are pursuing, ranging from medicine to veterinary science to Sunil, who wants to become a personal trainer. And then we have also children who are thinking about taking drama as an option. So we have a huge diversity of groups of children in Year 11 who want to take their careers in many, many different directions.
BT volunteer Melvin Pearce will be conducting the interviews and giving the pupils feedback on their performances.
If it's the teachers that were doing the interviews on there, rather than people from outside, then they're used to the teachers straight away. So you don't get the fact is that there's a stranger interviewing you. You don't get the fact that when you go in for an interview, there's nervousness comes about, which you would get in an interview. You've then got a stranger asking you questions that you're not used to. You don't know what's coming. Whereas if it was one of the teachers doing these interviews, then they've already got one step in. They're expected to know what's coming.
So try and not be nervous, take a nice deep breath, and good luck, all right? So Jessica, you're first. Off you go. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Kids in the classroom need, welcome as many opportunities, or need to be given as many opportunities to speak and to practice their speaking and listening skills as possible. And if they can do that with a real live business person, then all the better, because then when the actual real thing happens, it's not quite so imposing as it might be.
How do you do? Would you like to sit down?
Well, thank you.
They have the skills and expertise that we as teachers perhaps don't have. So from that point of view, I felt that the children were getting expertise in terms of the help and advice that they were being given. And in fact, I've learnt a great deal just by watching them and hearing what they've had to say.
So how do you feel that the voluntary work at the hospital is going to assist you in your future plans?
In the future, I would like to go into medicine and hopefully go on to become a surgeon.
The first interview went really well as such, because she'd come in, the paperwork was filled out, the application form. just Kira had a good CV and a good personal statement, and I felt that she'd worked on her questions that she felt were going to be asked at the interview, and it went down quite well.
Personally, I feel that by doing the extracurricular activities that I am, I can inspire other children to do the same. And I felt that I kept my eye contact very well, and my handshake was very good. However, I think I could have improved on my overall presence because I didn't really seem there in a sense. And I'm trying to organise.
With her appearance when she came in, she'd thought about it for the day. She'd came in, she'd got a suit on, which was very good on there, whereas some people would come in and really not dress for the day. The master chef and a future chef.
I wanted to change into my own clothes because I felt that it would be more sort of realistic as to what a real interview would be, and not just going in my school uniform. And I just thought I think getting dressed formally is part of the interview process, and it would be good to make, even though it was a mock interview, it would be good to make a good impression. Can I just ask, on my CV, should I state my references or should I put available on request?
And even at the end, when we'd finished the interview and we'd given sort of feedback on there, one of the things is we always ask is a question. Do you have any questions? And she'd actually thought about that and gave a question back, rather than just sit there and say, oh, well, when do I start and was I okay? Which means she'd given a bit of thought to it. If I was going to pick a few holes in it, it's probably a little bit too long. And laboured, and you may have been able to get that onto one page.
I feel that even though it was a mock interview, I still feel it will help me with my real interviews because it was my first one, and that meant I was slightly nervous. I didn't know what to expect, but now I know that it's not as maybe harsh or pressurised as I thought it would be first, and I know what to expect.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
I can take a seat.
Thank you.
You are?
Charlotte Fletcher.
Okay. Now you know what this afternoon's all about, do you?
Yeah.
On the paperwork there, she's a little bit lacking on the application form. There was the information on there which we look for to gain as to the background of what they're into and what they're likely to do when they leave school as to helping on there. There wasn't a lot of information. So it meant sort of having to ask her a lot more questions to try and find out sort of in depth about Charlotte.
I do drama for GCSE, and I also attend workshops on a Thursday evening.
And what's these workshops?
They basically teach us new skills in drama. I found the questions about what I wanted to do and why I had done things. That was quite difficult because a lot of the time I just do things because they're fun and because I enjoy them. So actually thinking about why I do them and why I find them fun was quite difficult. It helps me meet new people, and it makes me more confident. It helps my confidence as well. And it also helps my drama in school.
The only thing we would say on an interview is that she's very expressive, which is nice because she does a lot of drama, but on an interview, if you're sitting around there flaying your arms around all the time, it takes it away from the interview. So we'd normally say just nice firm, keep your hands on the table and just answer the questions and go from there.
Physics I'm quite interested in.
Some children get very, very nervous though, and they develop a twitch, whether it's like flicking their hair or fiddling with their fingers. And they come out, and when it's been pointed out to them and they haven't realised this is what they do, they find it really useful because it will help them next time think about what they have to do.
I thought, OK, I'm going to be nice to them, but I also want to be firm with them to make sure they know that that's wrong, what they're doing.
And what was the outcome then?
And they stopped doing it eventually.
So your actions
actually worked? I also kind of felt myself kind of moving around a lot, fidgeting quite a lot, which I was trying not to do, but I was nervous at that point then, because like after I walked in the room I suddenly became really nervous, and I think that was why I kept fidgeting around a lot.
Classic example of how some children can walk straight in without knocking, wasn't asked to sit down but sat down and just basically made himself at home. So on an interview that would have really gone against him, because I could have been marking somebody else's interview there, doing some paperwork, whatever. You always need to be asked to come in. So knock on a door, ask to come in, handshake, again that was missing, a little bit lacking.
I mean, one of the obvious mistakes I made was when I was walking in, I forgot to knock on the door. I mean, I think 2 seconds before I walked in, I was told to knock on the door as well, so that was just probably my nerves, or just I was a bit eager to go in.
Yeah. A lot of good grades on there. Tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm quite a fit lad. I go to sporting clubs quite often.
Again, the paperwork, it was lacking on that one. It got a good CV, but his personal statement was shallow on there. There was not a lot of information on it, and the application form was very similar. So they needed to work on both of those to get them really up to a standard that would give them a good interview wherever they went.
I worked in the post room at Cisco Systems, and my dad was also the head of the post room. So I had to kind of email clients telling them to collect the mail. The areas I feel I need to improve is my formal speaking and my introduction, and also talking about what I wrote in my personal statement, going into the finer details to explain thoroughly and let the interviewer know who I really am. My dream job would be if I could become an actor, but I've decided a personal trainer is another hobby that I really like and would love to go into, and it's a lot more stable kind of job.
I think that the benefits that we've had by working so closely with BT have been enormous, both for the school and for the children in Year 11 particularly, although we have also interviewed children in Year 12. I'd also say that it's possible for any school to take up and pursue this sort of link, either with one single company such as BT or with a number of different types of industries, but to get them to actually come in and to give the children the whole experience of the interview process is the benefits are enormous.
So you've all got an idea now about some of the requirements for an application form.
It's really the environment right now is quite ripe, if you like, for work between business and individual schools. They could either approach a local school themselves, they could do it through their governing body, they can do it through organisations like Business in the Community. There are all sorts of different ways of going about it. Education-business partnerships, again, are another route in.
I'll just make a few comments on there, on the feedback form. Is there? We hope by doing this that if they are worried, petrified, nervous, whatever, it goes with this interview, and when they go into the real interview outside for whatever they're going to do, they've now got the confidence not to be nervous. If you'd like to take that for your feedback now, on there, and hope you get on well in the future.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.
If this had been a real interview, perhaps I wouldn't have got the real place, because a lot of my answers were quite lengthy and I was gabbling on a bit in a lot of the answers because I didn't know what I was saying and what I was meant to be saying. So perhaps I didn't put myself across as well as I could have done if I had taken a few deep breaths and thought about the answers before I spoke.
Take all that, your debriefing, and good luck.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye.
If this was a real interview, I don't think I'd have got the job. I was a bit too nervous and didn't really speak my mind.
Okay, well there's all your paperwork then. If you'd like to go back and do your evaluation outside.
Okay, thank you very much for your help and time.
That's
Take
all right.
care. It's a pleasure
And good
to
luck.
meet you.
Okay,
Bye.
goodbye.
If this was a formal interview, I don't really know if I would have got the job or not, but I think maybe I stood a good chance.